put my banner though. Oh no, I won't. Sorry. Howdy and hello and happy Saturday from Los Angeles and from Chicago and from NoHo. And I couldn't tell you what just went down other than some Wi-Fi weirdness, house shaking, and just Heidiisms. I'm so excited. I want to take the time to introduce each of them. I'm very happy to have two pals here, and I'm really excited about this conversation. Ladies and gentlemen from Chicago, my good close friend of a couple decades, Rick Ramirez. This is where I'd be like, Rick does do, but I'm going to intro Corey, and we'll just start. And ladies and gentlemen from Los Angeles, part of the Tinfoil Gang, I got to meet a couple years ago. And look, I enjoy every conversation we have. Ladies and gentlemen from Los Angeles, Corey Banks. Wait, I should have, Corey, if we do something here with the podcasting, we have like a curtain now. We can be like, dah!
Oh, that's dope.
Well,
like a little game show.
Let's just call it what it is. Matrix just tried to fuck with us.
Always.
But we prevailed, and here we are.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. How are you guys?
Doing good.
I'm good. How you doing?
Doing okay. Well, just full on spaz mode now. I'm just maintaining that. I'm going to check in on our little live pals here and see if we made it onto the live, and we are. Voila. So, guys, I thought it would be kind of cool if we talked about living outside or looking even above and making choices outside of the matrix and what that little matrix grip is and program is. I know we've all been through a couple of hell instances and back, and we only got stronger, but maybe we can deliver a little hopium to people who are feeling like, things aren't happening the way they wanted to. Mm-hmm. So, on that note, now I wish I wrote those down.
It's funny, we got
Mm-hmm.
You're talking about the hopium thing, and then the very first thing that happens when you're trying to start the show is the glitch. The glitch happens.
And what did it do? I'm just giggling even harder.
Yep.
This isn't an airplane taking me out. Okay, we're public. If anybody wants to say anything or ask anything to Rick or Corey, please. I'm on both little chats. And there we go. Navigating the matrix. One glitch at a time. That would be a good banner. What is it you guys do? What do you do, Rick, out in Chicago?
Right now, just training people, personal training, teaching classes, that kind of thing, the fitness thing. Starting to move towards the sales thing on the side, doing some advertising, media sales, that kind of thing. So that's what's going on right now. Just, simple.
Simple. You've been in film. You've always been workout dude. And you're kind of doing a little bit of all now, it seems.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like, you kind of take what life throws at you sometimes. And, we're talking about the matrix thing. And it's like, once you start kind of cracking the code, you can start creating the life that you want.
That's true.
And so right now, I'm sort of taking what life gives me and punching back with my own little force and making it happen.
And Mr. Corey Banks, how are you making that happen? What are you doing here? Los Angeles. You're born and raised, aren't you? Kind of, sort of.
No, I wasn't born in Los Angeles.
I was born in Los Angeles.
I was born in the Midwest, actually. Like out closer by Rick. In Iowa.
Well, there you go.
But I've traveled a lot. What I do in LA right now is managing and own a recording studio. So work with musicians, people that need sound recording, just rent the room out for various entertainment purposes or broadcasting purposes. And just been building that up with my business partner for the past couple years. And, like he said, when you start doing something like that, you know, things open up, doors open up, opportunities come, you know, because you put yourself in that vibration and that energy. So
Yep.
you learn, you know, learning never stops. So
Learning never stops. Kicks your ass once in a while too. But that just makes you polish your armor even more.
Yep.
Reading right now. Oh, someone's reading the book Navigating the Game. Navigating the Matrix, Navigating the Game. That's it. When did you guys first start noticing that you were living in a simulation or in a little matrix slave planet control grid system? What was your first like? Oh,
long time ago. Long time ago. We kind of talked about this in the last show that you and I did together. I mean, the really cool thing is we're talking about the Matrix, the movie. When that movie came out, it was like the lights turned on. It's like all the little things that I sort of noticed in life, and I'm like, I don't know, there's got to be more to it. The way Morpheus was teaching Neo and like basically telling him like, you know, I can only show you the door. It's up to you to walk through it. Like those kinds of things happen in life. And when that movie came out, it just like put everything right there. And you're just like, oh shit, there's something to this. So I think, like I said, when last time we talked, when we had our little interview, when I started doing the energy work, that's when it was like manifest physical for me. But prior to that, it was always like, I wonder, you know, I don't know. I wonder.
You mean when you started using your hands and like seeing results, you're like, oh, I'm in fucking control of everything.
Yeah, things like that. I mean, even before that, like, and this wasn't a major thing, but it tripped me out until, like I said, until the Matrix came out, and I was like, oh, okay, maybe this is how it works. Because I remember I was my early 20s. My dad took me to go get a car.
I'm on a podcast.
And my dad took me to go get a car. And so we went to the dealership. The dealer comes out and he's like, hey, you know, how can I help you guys? And my dad's like, we're looking for a car for my son. And he goes, oh man, I got the car for you. And he takes us over to this little sports car. And he's like, it's got the nice rims and the nice sound system and all this stuff. And he's going on and on about the features of the car. This is kind of a sales thing, never really asked what I wanted. Just kind of assumed, you know, you got this 20-year-old kid, maybe he wants a race car kind of thing. And so after he showed us everything, he's like, what do you guys think? And I looked at my dad and I'm like, this isn't even what I want. And he goes, what do you want? And I said, I don't want a race car. I don't want like a sporty car. I'd rather have a truck. And like my dad and I never even talked about it.
Oh.
So when we left that dealership and went down to another dealership, to a Ford dealership, and got out and talked to the sales guy. And the sales guy's like, hey, you know, same thing, like, how can I help you guys? My dad's like, just looking for a car for my son. And this guy goes, what are you looking for? Ask me. And I said, honestly, I'm like, I'd like to have like a black pickup truck, 4-wheel drive, stick shift. And he goes, oh. And he literally turns around and goes, I got one right here.
It just lines up.
And this is the cool thing, like the mechanic that was working at the Ford dealership, one of the mechanics, was trading in his pickup and basically upgrading. So it was one owner, the dude, because he was a mechanic, took care of the truck. And I got everything I wanted. And like in that moment, I was like, whoa, that's kind of cool. But it didn't hit me like the Matrix kind of thing until, like I said, the movie came out. And I was like, dude, I've had experiences like that all my life. I just didn't know it. So
when it lines up, it's like Truman Show.
Yep.
You're going against the grain. Stuff's going to keep happening. Keep you going against the grain.
That was the freaky thing. It's like, I told the guy, I'm like, I want a black pickup, 4-wheel drive, stick shift. And it was right behind me. Or right behind him. And I was like, damn, that's kind of cool. Universe.
That's really cool. Yeah, thanks, Big U.
Yeah.
What about you, Mr. Corey Banks? When did you first be like, holy shit, I'm in control?
Uh, I would say maybe a little bit similar but different. Um, I've always been rebellious. So like I think the spiritual side of me has always been resistant to a lot of BS. Like just even if it was just subconscious.
Mm-hmm. Like a good BS meter.
Because growing up, that was kind of how I was looked at. Rebellious, didn't respect authority, and just didn't resonate with me. So when you get older, those can turn into harsher consequences.
Mm-hmm.
So when I started to kind of hit my head against the wall over and over and over again, I started to, kind of backtrack and look at what I was doing, what I was dealing with, and different ways to look at things.
Mm-hmm.
And, I try to give the system the benefit of the doubt and, looked at myself, but I noticed a lot of elements from that side that didn't make sense either, no matter what I did. So it encouraged me to look, like I said, look deeper into things. And it's, just been an ongoing spiritual journey to truth and light and love and the right people in my life, by giving myself my worth and knowing my worth and not accepting less. That's a big part, of what you have to do, obviously, to navigate the matrix.
Yeah.
And yeah, just over time, I just went deeper down the rabbit hole and found new information, and it inspired me and encouraged me to look deeper into that information. And then it just, it becomes you. You transform yourself basically. The way you used to perceive things and the way you used to look at things and react to things,
Mm-hmm.
grow out of that and grow
Mm-hmm.
past that. So
perspective totally shifts, and then it's like all about choosing your own adventure. What choice are you gonna make? It's just your thoughts.
there is no spoon,
right?
Yeah.
That's You
Corey,
dug the
what did you like? What was the thing that led you down that path? Was it a book, a movie, like a person, that kind of thing?
I don't feel like I ever like really resonated with the normal path that's laid out for all of us, and it was experiences that came from that, basically.
You're a troublemaker.
Just my nickname's Solo, so it still kind of sticks with me. Like in the times we're in right now, you've seen those pictures where there's like a million people lined up going this way. I'm the guy walking this way. I don't need a million people behind me or in a line or to feel comfortable. That's how I've always been. So it feel kind of like alien in the world, in a way, because a lot of the things that people cherish and love and gravitate towards, and it just doesn't do a lot for me because I see a bigger picture. So I feel more resonant to my spiritual mission, I guess, is what it comes down to. Because when I got into activism, it really opened up for me. Because I realized even in activism and in the activist groups and circles and events, there was a matrix there.
What were you super activist about, like early on? Because you had it rough too. Like you had experience on the street, you've had experience with law enforcement, you've had these rough experiences that you've always risen from. Where was the activism part of having those kind of dark experiences or challenging experiences? That was a lot. I just asked a lot.
Getting into activism and becoming proactive with community, issues and things like that was definitely. I mean, it definitely had a big merit to deal with how I grew up, for sure. Because I always wanted to unlock the mystery and free myself from that lie.
Yeah.
You know, like the confusion and everything. And the type of person I am, I gotta see it for myself, or I gotta prove it for myself, or I'm not gonna get it. So whatever it takes, however many hours, days, months, years, a lot of people will look at you and, you know, you're wasting your time, and because they're not doing that, or
Yeah.
you know, they don't know what you're doing.
They're like lying up.
But as time goes on, if those people are still in your life, they'll realize, you know, it does work. You know, everything works that way.
Because they see you rise up time and again. And then they see you in a good position. They're like, oh shit, how do you do that? Now, before you said you were those times of confusion, you knew when you were getting that you were confused and there were all these lies. Is there anything you can think of specifically? I know there's a lot of things usually we go through, but was there anything that triggered that thought of like, no, like, was it, I don't want to feel this way, or like, I deserve more than that, or, you know, does that make sense? Because that was powerful when you go, because it's true. You hit that point where you're like, fuck, like, it doesn't have to be like this. Why are we on this rat race? What is going on? Like, any triggers of those kinds of, that make, what was confusing other than this question?
Like I guess, like, because of the personality I was, I could like kind of fit in and be popular, but I never wanted to be.
Gotcha.
Never really cared about that. Like, I'd rather be the rebel, basically. I didn't want to fit in, you know, because I seen what that was from the outside, and then, you know, delving into it a little bit, it wasn't real. So I've always just kind of gone my own path and figured it out as I went. You know, like they say, you don't gotta see the whole staircase to take the first step.
Right.
And it's always been my experience. So, and you know, it took some years, but gathering all that data and experiences and skills and everything, you know, it culminates and you know, connects to something bigger. Like, you know, if you stick with it, you know, that's anything. You say that about anything.
It can totally save your ass or save someone else's ass. You said by learning a lot of the control systems out there, you pretty much helped a friend get out of escape a court case or something. Like you took it to the courts and you're like, I know this shit. Try me. And you
well,
won.
I mean, I just took the same formula, basically, you know, and didn't really care what it was or how it presented itself. If it didn't make sense, I was going to learn about it, and like I said, do what I have to do to learn what it is and how I can navigate through it, and how I can expose the elements that aren't being transparent, you know, because when you change your mindset and the way you react to things and the way you respond to things, you get a whole different environment and energy center, you know, like, and that's all it is. It's just an energy game. You know, it's cycling, harvesting of our energy, because we're not creating like we should.
Or following our bliss. A lot of people aren't following their bliss. They're waiting till, up until, or when I retire, or after this, or, you know, like, you're not playing the game right. Like, you're taking the hard route. Why are you doing that? Yeah. And how you said about exposing, we think we all three have done, you know, we're certainly loud on social media, but even through these little dark matrixy glitch steps, we actually call it out. We're like, hey, I see what you're doing here. I'm seeing you guys, you know, this isn't cool. And you move forward. You also save your butt from it, but you give them a little bit of exposure. And I think that's really important for people, strong people who are learning a lesson from something, is to, you know, call it out. I don't
Right.
know how that would make sense. I mean, like we've each taken a turn and be like, this is not cool the way police enforcement does this or Hollywood's this. Calling it out can be, it's all in the delivery, basically. Mr. Rick,
I was just going to say, I think it's what's really interesting about this time that we're in is people are finding their voice and they're expressing that voice.
Yeah.
Whether you agree with it or not, I think it's important for people's voices to get out. And, for the longest time with our age, Heidi, I don't know how old you are, Corey, but, we grew up with, we grew up with the three big media stations, your CBS, your NBC, your ABC. Mm-hmm. And, we grew up with TV before cable. And we were there from cable to internet, so.
And ColecoVision.
All of that. So I think it's one of those things where, for the longest time, the control of who gets to express that voice was in a few hands. Yeah. And in this day and time that we are experiencing right now, it's like everybody's finding their voice in their own little way. And I think that's important because you got people that want to say something and maybe they've been too afraid to, and they're kind of seeing everything that's going on with the world right now. And they're like, you know what, I got to put something out. Even if it's just a meme, they don't have to like actually express it, but that's their way of expressing. I think that's important.
It's really important. Did you, speaking of NBC or CNBC, did you see the letterhead or the story that went around about how they're literally, truth in plain sight, and they have the Illuma donkeys and all of them have to show their agendas. They basically are saying that, hey, we're getting together, CDC and all these people with the Hollywood producers, and because we want it written within the storylines, the mass jab, how we want to normalize that. We want all the current events to be out there. They literally said that's what they're doing. Now there's some people that are like, yay, because it's just all programming. And then others like, wait, that's not, what are you doing? So they're getting exposed, I think, still left and right. And there's just a few people that are paying attention and going, that's not okay. But thank God it got put out recently. So I went in a big tangent on that. Do you remember we were talking about that, Corey? That just came out about, to me, I see an article like that's mainstream. Part of me is like, woohoo, it's in mainstream news. And part of me is like, yikes, how many people like this? And there's quite a few, but at least it's out there. There's a little hopium there. But exposure and the networks, and they're all in cahoots. So we got to get our voices out, whether it's a meme, it's a this, it's a that. It's
Yeah, and that's like I said, I think that's what's been happening. There's people out there, I guess, that you don't agree with, but I don't think it's right to like shut those voices down.
Yeah.
It's because the cool thing is, if there's somebody, like I've learned this over the years, just having conversations with friends. Sometimes I see the world in a specific kind of way from a certain perspective, and I'll have a conversation with somebody that sees it in a different way. And at first I may not agree. And after I think about it, I'm like, oh, that kind of makes sense. After thinking about it for a little while, and it expands your world in a way. And I think it's a shame that you see like all the censorship stuff going on, or people saying, oh, you don't know what you're talking about, shut up. It's like, no, man, we got to get that discussion out there so that all of us can grow.
Yeah. Everybody learning. And what's happening as of late with all the cyborgs and the zombies and the people literally getting turned off. Their energy, their connection to source, everything's getting shut down. And they're starting at all ages. With that flooding out, there's a moment of like, oh, shit. How many are going to be left that can they're playing in the Matrix, like living their best life. And then you just see this flood of them shutting off. But it's like, how much of that is even manufactured? The flood of the people getting shut off. I don't know. I lost my train of thought, but it kind of, I meant what you were saying about exposure. And thank you, Andrew. I lost my train of thought. You know why? Because they're so cute. There's some people chatting on here. Let's see, Emily. I don't know if you're still there. Andrew Smith, Sonia. There's a free audio book, or there's an audio book we should check out. And then Corey Lavoie, you had something cool. Recognize invasive and persuasive influences. Introspection leads to awareness of the difference between the authentic self and what is projected upon us. Totes! Comments are pretty kind of funky. Very cool, Corey. Exactly. So when we recognize that in people and you find yourself in a situation of, I don't want this fucker to get my energy anymore, what do? You were combative at first, Corey, right? And then it got to the point where you're like, this isn't really getting me anywhere. It's kind of getting me further in their rules and matrixy things. So what did you do? How are you sitting in your own music studio, and not taken out?
That was a big epiphany, probably. Like, I remember it. Like, when the epiphany was, they want me in jail.
They wanted your
They want me to be in trouble. There's nothing in the system no matter what they call rehabilitation and all that, if you've never been through tough times in life and have done jail time, then you don't have an opinion about it. You're not going to learn about it unless you go through it. There's certain things in life where you have to experience it. Mm-hmm. So I've noticed a lot of people that, if they've never been to jail, they're like, real condescending about that. And then really dismissing of anybody who's had a traffic ticket. And, but that was a big epiphany that I was like, okay, when I was locked up, I used to like make songs and everything. So I can share like a little, I was in like 23-hour lockdown. Like I was in jail because that's how rebellious I was when I got to those states. I just flip out. But I was out like walking around the courtyard. I had my little hour out for the day, and then you're just in a room for 23 hours every day. And like, and the guards, I can get under people's skin too, because I'm not stupid, no matter what situation you put me in, And so I can get under people's skin easily, especially authority figures, because I've had a lot of practice at it. Just like they've had practice at tormenting us, And I remember listening to them. I could hear them like in the tower. I was out like in the little courtyard doing my guinea pig walk in circles. And like they were bragging to each other on like conversations they had with me and trying to get the best of me and everything. That was my epiphany when that happened. And I was like, damn, these guys are childish. And like, so I came up with like a little rhyme, and I said, they want me to lose it and become physical and delusional and let my stress win so they can unleash their invisible institutional oppression. Mm-hmm. That's what I call what they do. It's invisible institutional oppression. Mm-hmm. Like, when you got time, you can kind of put things together easier when you're not stressed, when mm-hmm. You can be more thorough with the pieces and the details that you're able to see. So that was the epiphany, I guess, was that. And then it just kept going, like when we learn, if that thing that we learned was impactful, then it's going to encourage us to look further into that, look deeper into that. So that becomes a part of you, and that's how you deal with similar situations like that in the future.
When you were literally like, not only do they not care about me, but they're literally trying to hurt me and trying to make my life even worse. So instead of enraging that just made you turn around, turn the tables on them, kind of. Did you mentally fuck with them after that?
Huh?
Yeah.
Did I what?
Get him. I'm like, did you have the Scorpio in me wants me to know how you got him back?
I walked out of jail one day.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. That's That's the best.
And knew that
Got out of there quick.
I'd never see him again. You know.
There you go. That's perfect. Yep. They wanted another statistic there. Wow. Well, shite. I didn't write it down. I have to write everything down because you're talking. And I was like, oh yeah. But I was like, what was that?
You're forgetting that you're the host. You're a fan.
I know. I was like saying, I was like, wait, Corey. Okay, good point. I'm looking if there was a never mind. So anyhow, on that note, how are you feeling now? Like I feel there's this climactic like vice grip, not only with the poisoning of people, but the work, I still feel the dark cabal agendas are losing. And I just feel like there's more people getting a voice. That's what you were saying, Rick, about getting people no matter how they try to share and get it out. And there's more people than there were before. Case in point, you go to YouTube, like White House channel. They have to turn those comments off. They're like, and then all of a sudden they have to leak a MSN article of, we might be altering the dislikes because it's like their people are rising up. So it's like, we got this. This is just it's taking so fucking long to get that big wave of consciousness. But I see it happening. I think it's happening. I think
too, you got to remember those of us that are talking about this stuff like now, like the three of us right now, and the people that are in your circle that are vocal about it, we've probably most likely been just to use the Matrix term, red pilled a long time ago.
Yeah.
So it's like, in a weird sort of way, like we're the Morpheuses and the Trinities of the world, and we're trying to wake up the Neos, basically. Mm-hmm. And so we got to sort of remember it's going to take some people some time, and they're catching it at the end of the line. So it's going to be kind of shocking, I think.
And a lot at once.
Yeah.
And bum rush them.
Yeah, and I have some friends that through the last couple of years of all the stuff that's been going on, I share stuff with them, and they're like, "Oh my God, is this real? Like, is this really happening?" I'm like, "Yeah, check it out. Like, you do your research, you find the information." So it's like that the first time that Neo wakes up and he's like, "Why can't I see?" And Morpheus is like, "You've never used your eyes." That's what's happening to a lot of people right now. They've never seen, like, I joke around a lot, I'll post stuff just to kind of like trigger people. But I'll, some of my posts will say, this is for the, for those that can't see yet, or, for the slow kids in the back of the classroom. I'm joking around, but I really want them to like understand you're getting this information that a majority of us have sort of seen but not really talked about. Now we're talking about it, and you're pushing back because you're not comfortable, and that's okay. Like, we weren't comfortable when we found out about the shit that we're finding out. Yeah. But it's literally that scenario.
Yeah.
Your eyes hurt because you've never seen before. You don't see the stuff that we're trying to share with you and open you up to.
Yeah. I worry about the people who don't push back, who don't do anything. They're just like, and then they just go about their 3D Matrix way.
All you have to do is just love them and
send them love,
send them love and light, and pray that maybe that's their path.
Oh, for sure, sure. Cord cutting is a good thing. Like, just some people just no longer serve a purpose, even for them. It's just moving through that. It's so funny you brought up that scene. It's the same scene we were talking about last night, Corey, with when he was waking up and the never seen eyes. So of course, because that is huge. That's pretty much. Is that a meme?
Yeah, that's my favorite line in the Matrix. Actually, that's one that I utilize. Use a lot of Matrix quotes. Like I said, the spoon. It's your mind that bends. You're not bending the spoon. You're bending your perception. So there's a lot of great quotes in there.
A lot of great quotes. And I have my swords back here. There's my Trinity.
I want to kind of comment on what Rick was talking about earlier, though.
Yeah, please.
When he was talking about don't be dismissive to just somebody's opinion, because the way people do it, they dismiss that person.
Mm-hmm.
Like
it's all in the delivery, how they talk to you, you talk back, for sure.
Yeah.
But what else?
And I've always been of the opinion that we all have the pieces.
Yeah.
You know, like this world, the system that's built up around the people over time, secretively. The rules to the game were like a puzzle box of a million pieces, you know, with like thousands of different puzzles, basically. And they just dumped thousands of puzzles in one place. And like, yeah, let them figure that out. That's pretty much what we inherited, you know. So it's a struggle for all of us. You know, we've all been brainwashed, like I was talking to you about. You know, like even us.
Of course,
it's difficult for us to do things and think about things at times, and you know, we notice where we're programmed, and even though we have that other voice, that we've been able to talk louder over that element. We've all been attacked, you know.
Hands down.
We've all been oppressed. So yeah, you shouldn't dismiss a person because you don't agree with one opinion. Like that's not that person. That person, every person is a beautiful being. You know, there's more than one thing about everybody. So and that's the deception of the media, because they're the ones that put those, you know, messages out there to get those conclusions.
Of course.
Those automatic conclusions. So
and it was just a truth bomb dropped yesterday with that announcement. They're like, we're literally working with Hollywood writers to incorporate these narratives into our programming. I was like, they said it themselves.
That's obvious. I mean, that's predictable.
Sure.
For us, you know.
For others,
so
yeah.
It's like we know we're at war, and we have an invisible enemy who has very predictable strategies and moves and tactics. For most people, they don't have a clue what that means.
That's true.
It's interesting, Heidi, because what you're just saying about the media, like saying, "Oh, this is what we're doing," whatever. I just noticed on Hulu that movie Songbird came out recently. I don't know, like I don't check out Hulu that much, but that movie was produced in 2020, and it's about basically a pandemic. And it's just interesting. Like they're feeding you the playbook.
Yeah.
But
totally.
Unless you're awake, you know, okay, they're playing a game. But if you're not awake, you're just like, oh, that's just another movie, or that's just another article in the newspaper.
But it's all hitting it.
Yeah. But when I saw the post for that movie, I can't remember when I saw it, but I was like, damn, they actually produced a movie talking about what's actually happening right now with this whole lockdown bullshit. So it's interesting. And that's on Hulu right now.
In Black Mirror dropped so much stuff. What about those little Boston dogs that run in and arrest people? You know, there was a whole episode on that. Freak me the fuck out. I couldn't finish that one. That was crazy. It's like the truth, the Handmaid's Tale. The storyline's out now about the sterilizations, and then as a mom, so that waking up matrixy thing, kind of similar to the same thing you said, Corey, about wow, you realize they're trying to hurt you or they're trying to make things bad for you, was like when the mandatory vaccine rollout. And like 10 years ago, my medical rights got taken away, and I became a mother. And I'm like, fuck that. Fuck no. Like, what are you doing? What are you talking about? You're telling me what to do with this human I grew. Like, it was just, I dove so deep, and I was like, they're trying to hurt. They're trying to do an agenda. And I'm like, I'm going to do, that's my mission, to not follow their agenda. But dodge and weave, you know, check my brakes every so often and make choices that keep me out of it. And that's my choosing my own adventure. But the content that comes out, heck yeah. And I tell people this, everything's in full steam. There's a lot of not just in well, I can only speak for United States, but a lot of cities are busting, moving, shows, everything's out there. I've said that a lot of times, but I mean, there's some good stuff too. Bigfoot Family, that's a really good show. I want to hope everyone sees. It's like it's the cutest. About there's like the oil they're illegally taking, and then you can heal yourself with your own hands, and of course Bigfoots. And and Onward we saw last night. I forgot how magical that kind of was. There's a way to see the symbolism, but then see the story. But then there's content where you're like, okay, they're trying to be like, look. No symbolism. This is just artists and a good story. And I'm like, let's bring them up. Let's bring them up a little bit. I got a little distracted with my synapses because I'm trying to read it fast, guys. If we understood that we are truly all one, then someone else's opinion is a part of yourself you don't know yet. Sure. That sounds, heck yeah. You're going to be sovereign in your choices, sovereign in your belief systems. And then the hard part is allowing someone else to be that as well. You literally have to cut yourself from them. If they're triggering you like that and they're making you combative or come at them, it's just more energy that's low vibe that just keeps that low shit moving. And you learn that the hard way, Corey, by being combative against these situations. Instead, you just started using your knowledge and you like navigated your way into your own business. I just think that's so cool. That was a couple topics at once, right? Did anything trigger any thoughts in you? Mr. Rick?
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, no, Corey.
No, I was just going to say earlier, Corey, you mentioned that you had said something about, following your spiritual mission. And I was interested, like, how would you define your spiritual mission? I've never heard it put that way before. I think it's awesome. And I'm just curious, like, what's that for you?
Life is kind of opened up to the truth that I'm a light worker, that the things that we go through are on purpose to make us who we are. Everything is purposeful, basically, if we look at it that way, and realizing that we live in a world with lost people. We've been lost, so a better way to help people find things or themselves is people that have done that. Mm-hmm. Not get engulfed by our egos, by our accomplishments or accolades, but still lend hands, to people when we can, help people. You were asking what kind of like protests I went to like a while back. Mm-hmm. I went to like police brutality rallies where people lost their family, their son and brother got shot and killed by the police or whatever. So just to give them solace and community, a lot of people like maybe 20 people gathered and we played music and shut down intersections and went in front of the police station and, just picketed, had signs and just to raise awareness, the experience of that is most people will drive by because their brother hasn't been shot and killed by the police, and one of the messages that we had was it could happen to you, don't ever think that something can't happen to you. And where you don't have compassion for when it happens to other people, because that's a big part of the programming too, is it's not happening to me. So it has nothing to do with me. It's not affecting me. Mm-hmm. And we were grown like that. We went to school, public school, Rockefeller Foundation created. And we were brainwashed. We were ideologically subverted. We were taught backwards from the gate.
Inversion from everything's inverted.
So part of my spiritual mission, to answer your question, would be to keep the disinformation at a balanced level. I feel like that's part of my mission. Try to, do my best to show people that there's other options, There's a lot of people get stuck in their lifestyles, and that's a big part of the world's problem.
Yeah, and consumerism.
There's a lot of opportunities for people if people just look, and have faith. We live in a world that claims they have faith, but I don't see a lot of it. So yeah, just light worker, bringing truth and light to a dark world of lies, basically. And connecting with other people on the same mission so that we can, like, Heidi with the Care Bears and the superheroes, we can positively affect people,
Hopium to the rescue. What's your mission, Rick? What would you say how would you tagline your mission?
I mean, every time I think about stuff like that, I always think about my daughter, and the combination of thoughts that goes with that is like, how do I live my life so that I make her proud, that kind of thing. Keep her the memory of me, because one day I won't be here. Keep the memory of me alive in her in a way that, she could be, like, say, okay, my dad, that's how he lived his life. I'm happy for him or whatever. And it always comes back to that. So, like, even when like, sometimes this will cross my mind, because like I said earlier, I train people, like I teach fitness classes, boot camps, things like that. And I try to be good to the people that are in front of me that I'm training, because my brain kind of thinks weird. Like, I don't want somebody to one day, run across my kid one day, like cross paths and be like, your dad was an asshole. I don't know. Like, my brain thinks in those terms, and I'm like, I'm trying to be good to everybody around me. So
yeah,
if one day somebody does cross paths with my kid, they'll be like, oh, you're Rick's daughter. Your dad is a really good guy. Like, I want that for the world. But I'm kind of selfish because it revolves around my kid. But
that's not selfish. That's called being good parenting.
Right.
You're leading by example, and you're teaching do unto others, and you get what you give. I think that's beautiful.
Basically,
and because of the distance between you guys now, which is based on falsified data and agenda, which sucks, it's beautiful that you're getting your message out so that if she seeks it, she will find it.
Yeah,
pretty cool.
That's my mission, if you will. Just be good and leave that kind of legacy, so that one day maybe my daughter or grandkids down the line, they get to see that and say, okay, I had a cool granddad, that kind of thing. That's all I want.
Aw. Well, shoot, I still don't know if my mission. I'm still figuring it out. I'm just going to keep spreading some opium and snitch a few times and call some shit out. Depends on my mood. So I don't know my mission yet. I wanted people to clean up their freaking pineal and connect to source, and heal their inner work, heal their inner trauma. I just feel that's precedent, because I've seen people in my no 6 degrees, but your first degree people, their light switch out. And it's like, lost another one. And not just, it used to be like, I don't want to talk to Heidi. Now it's literally like, beep, boop, bop, boop, like, they're gone. They're gone. So, yeah. I want to keep spreading that hopium. I'm a fucking dealer now, man. Hopium dealer.
Well, we had a couple.
Pardon?
We had a couple movie references, so I wanted to just share another one.
Yeah.
With kind of a concept of what we're talking about. Independence Day.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
The alien ships that took over the world and everything.
Mm-hmm.
When the fighter jets shot at it, they couldn't touch it. The force field on and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So just going down the mission and journeys that we've gone on, I see a lot of metaphors in movies, and I truly believe this is a war between good and evil that we're in. Not everybody's evil just because they got money. Not everybody's good just because they got money. Not everybody's evil just because they don't have money, and vice versa.
Right.
You can't put anything in a box, you know. But the metaphor I seen in that was like a tyrannical government, basically. The motherships that surrounded the world and were threatening to destroy it and take it over and harvest it, basically.
Mm-hmm.
But when they flew in the mothership, they put the virus inside the mothership. And I think
Well,
the
you can't
deeper
be
we get,
touching that mothership. That's a light beam. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I think the deeper we get, you know, in our truth and closer to the problem rather than the symptoms of the problem, which is what the media propagates constantly for a reason. That's where we need to plant the virus, you know, in the court system, the structure, you know, the police, the thought that people can't protect themselves, they can't look out for each other. That's ridiculous.
Right.
You know,
It's a mindset, though. It is a mindset,
so
albeit
when,
controlled.
yes,
Mm-hmm.
so when they put the virus in, they were able to penetrate the ship and start small fires until it exploded. And then remember I don't know if you guys remember the movie. It was a while ago.
Mm-hmm.
But remember when the general got on the phone after they found out they could hit it? They said, get on the line with all the people around the world and tell them how to bring them down.
Mm-hmm.
So that's our mission right now,
Mm-hmm.
is to talk to each other, you know, combat the disinformation. It is a full-on war because they're censoring people like us.
Yeah.
You know, they don't want us to call bullshit like we had been and creating creative YouTube videos to call out false flags and all that. Probably pissed them off.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, just continue the journey
Mm-hmm.
and you know, think from that standpoint, that mission. We've been doing it. I feel like we've been fucking them up. You know, I think this pandemic has a lot to do with people beating the court system as well, and the systems that are in place to restrict us and
Right.
tax us as we go out of the
Right.
lines that they want us to be in. Yeah, I feel like we made a pretty significant wound in the system, and they're trying to recover from that.
Yeah, they won't. I really believe they won't. I believe that infrastructure you're talking about is crumbling. I mean, it's going to be probably kept intact, but replaced. Case in point, too, is that restaurant we met at in Thousand Oaks. You know, he had a year's worth of court cases, millions of dollars of cases against him. And the judge literally just threw it all out. He's like, I'm not going to go through with any of these cases. It was like a year's worth, and he was getting hit every day because he stayed open and he stayed sovereign and he had the Constitution on his door. And even the judge is like, got nothing here. He's a businessman who chose to stay open and he wiped it out. And I'm like, we don't hear about those hopium stories because they want people to think, oh, I'm already doomed. I might as well just play along in that system. And even Independence Day, we were talking about too. You know, I'm all about my multidimensional being. So I feel it's a metaphor to deep state, archonic energy that was taking over our system. And they're going to take it out. And I still firmly believe that because not only are we doing that healing work on ourselves, once we get to that point where we can help heal others, our beings and their team will step in. And I go full reptilian on people, so I can take it to that degree. But I think it relates to all this stuff. You have the support. You become sovereign and you step into your free will and you do the right thing and think of others and, lead with the heart. You're supported energetically by millions of other light beings. I'm taking it on another tangent, I think, guys. Sorry.
One of the things that I think is also important is to talk about like the story that you just said about that restaurant. Like we're here doing a little mini live stream. Who knows how many people will watch it live or watch it later, but like you should tell people where's that restaurant at? What's the name of the restaurant? Get them going there.
Yeah. Yeah, people have seen me post with it. It's in Thousand Oaks. It's the original pizza cookery. Now, see, California opened up, LA opened up, but everyone, like that story I did about the airport, they see the person in front of them, mask up, they do the same. They're hurting themselves and basically doing what the other crowd is doing. Now, this place, he kept your sovereignty intact. During this lockdown, you were not harassed or questioned, not just because of HIPAA laws and Peggy Hall and things, but you literally had a choice to step in and just, hello. I've even hugged Jordan a few times. He's had a huge homeschool group there twice, once making pizzas in the kitchen. And this man, he gave stories about, I promised to defend my country from foreign and domestic terrorism. And we're under a domestic terrorist threat, global, but intergalactic. But I think there's other businesses like him. There's groups out here that support only businesses like that, that keep that sovereignty intact. That and it's happening more and more to me. And I have some friends even that you would consider higher up in their research and their awakening, but they're still worried about what someone's going to say to them. So to me, I think there's a lot of people that have a lot of inner work and inner child healing to do. And there's always room for that, because there's chances all over the place to step into your sovereignty and not be a dick about it. And so, and then teaching someone else to do the same thing. I think that's a big, lead by example. Circle back on that.
We had a restaurant out here, out in Glendale Heights, out in the burbs. I can't remember if it was last year or late last year or early this year. I think it was earlier this year. They, basically Illinois was doing something about restaurants have to stay closed again or some shit like that. And these guys out in Glendale Heights were like, no, fuck it, we're not doing that anymore. And I saw it was like a news post or something like that. And either that day, I can't think it was that day or a couple of days later, I went to that restaurant, never been there before. And when I walked in, I saw because the owner was in the front. There was a TV station there. They were like recording some shit. They actually got me on TV. I didn't even know it. But I talked to the owner, and I was like, man, just keep doing your thing. I'm here to support you. I'm like, I've never been to your restaurant. I live in the city, but I grew up in the burbs. I'm like, I'm here because I saw that damn post of you guys like kicking back, basically punching back. I'm like, go on, man. You got people like me that'll come out here and support you. And I've eaten at that restaurant a couple of times, but I think it's just as important to support those people that are like, fuck this, man. We took your bullshit for 6 months or whatever, 8 months or however long they had to sit quiet and close down. And now they're opening up because that's their livelihood right now. It's like, yeah, I'll support that all day long.
Totally. That sovereignty you step in, it gives you an extra, I swear to God, and like an invisible cloak of divine protection, because you're declaring your sovereignty, and you're not out to harm anybody else. You're making sovereign decisions firmly, and you're moving with them and forward. And it's kind of like the path goes whoop,
And you're willing, you're willing to battle too.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, there's like I said, there's a few places out here in the city that I walk in without the mask bullshit, and they don't say anything to me, and I'll keep spending my money there all fucking day long.
How's Wrigley? How's heavy beer and all
I haven't been out that way, but when I was out there in December, like
I thought you were right. Okay.
No, I don't. I live 15 minutes from Wrigley, like out west. But you get closer to the lake that way. There's people walking around outside with masks on by themselves.
They're on the beach by themselves. Their feet in water.
They're on bikes. They're driving their cars. They're running.
Driving the cars.
That I don't get.
That's manslaughter. There needs to be a law. Like, that's really the times I go off the most on my little vlogging, is nearly being killed by muzzle drivers. And there is no common sense to that. So and the fact that like you say, Corey, they're out to get you because there would have been a law in place for that. You have to put a child in rear facing seats, and you can't, this, that, but you can drive with a thing covering all the way up to your eyeballs. Even it could ruin your peripheral. That's people that are trying to encourage more drama, more loosh, more pain.
They're bad drivers too.
Oh my God! Yeah, I got my speed in Chicago. Wait, that sounds bad too. I probably said that too. I was my off-roading outside Chicago in a fib in Wisconsin, but out here, man, I can't even break 50 sometimes. That was the best part with lockdown, is just being free on the roads, because we went everywhere.
Yeah.
I was like,
when there was nobody on the highway, that was perfect.
It's like an hour in Big Bear. I was like, woo, yeah. Perfect. Yeah.
Can I red pill real quick?
Please.
Yeah, all right.
I got my water ready.
everything that we're talking about, everybody has to realize that it's all contract. Everything. There's spiritual contracts, there's written contracts, there's verbal contracts. Mm-hmm. The system wins a lot of battles through tacit agreements to contracts. That's a legal term for basically you submitted. So we've all been brought up in this system, and we've been led one way.
Yeah.
Never been given an option. But a system that claims it operates fair and just and in truth, and that everything you do is voluntary. That's how it has to be.
Free will.
If you can prove it was involuntary, and you know how to enforce that, there's nothing they can do. If you're willing to take it to the length that they're willing to take it. Mm-hmm. Because all they do is operate under intimidation, threats, fear. That's all they know.
It's all paper pushing.
The cops are brainwashed too, because they deal with ridiculous shit that we wouldn't want to deal with every day. They're literally turning us psychopaths because of the stuff that they have to deal with, and the situations they got to put themselves in, to the point where they look at everybody that way, start attacking people. A lot of them have PTSD from the military, because that's the only job they could get when they got out of the military. All that's why they
work. I'm so sorry to interrupt, but look at where they work. In police stations, hospitals, the frequencies are high. It's fluorescent lighting. The food is shit. I've never seen a hospital with good food, and that's the healing. It's all done a certain way to keep the mice, the hamsters in the hamster wheel. Sorry, I interrupted.
No, you're good. It's all done by design, for sure. But there's still the hidden lines, the hidden pathways that they can't block off, because they have to have a path for themselves. So when we discover those, they always try to change them. They get together in their little Bohemian Grove cliques. Oh yeah, we got to change this law, and we're going to change this statute to this, and too many people are figuring this out. It's just cat and mouse nonstop. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And that has a lot to do with where we're at too, because we have reached not critical mass, but we were on our way. And that's been my observation, that they're at war with consciousness. That's what they're really at war with. Well, they're at war with the Great Awakening. Yeah. They're at war with the second coming, if you will. That's why they block the sun. Mm-hmm. That's why they put more and more poisons in the soft drinks and all that. They've upped the stakes of the game that they were doing, but they incrementally implemented it over time, so it wouldn't be detectable until they felt like they were too big to fail, or nobody can do anything.
That's why they pulled that switch of of Corey's saying in the chat here, of AI, like the same. That's why that unleashed of the heavy big pharma journey to get people literally disconnected from source, dumbed down, numbed out, and to fall in line. So they're upping their antes. Like that full AI takeover it's happening. People have seen the videos with the hairs, first degree people, and then combine that with the foods and everything. Little side note, I have a healer, my dearest healer pal. She's Reiki. She works on people, and she said once she's starting to get patients now who have taken the vaccine, the jabs, and she is not dealing with. She's seen something. I don't think I shared this with you yet, Rick. On the table, she can't get to the person. They're literally floating above body, tethered to their body. They're disconnected from their source, and it's an AI programming that comes at her. And she's like, they have this swirling, like they're and it's out there. We've all shared all of the stuff that Gates saying, I'm going to start shooting up kids with genetic modified organisms. Like they're going cyborg. Everybody, the AI thing's rolling out and taking over, and all the timing of everything. I bored him. I'm kidding.
No, but that's interesting that you mentioned that about the Reiki stuff and her not being able to feel their body, their soul or their body or whatever.
Yeah.
The other day I ran across a post, and it was just, I found it interesting that women who haven't gotten the jab, that are around other people that have gotten the jab, like some funky stuff is happening to them.
It's jumping, yeah. But the menstrual cycle. There's Handmaid's Tale. There's the sterilization project, which I've been warning for 8 years because of the HPV. That was a sterilization situation.
But it's freaky that the observation, and like I said, I don't know if this is true or not. I'm one of these people, and you and I have talked about this. I'm weirdo enough that I want to hear the weird and like let me make my own decision on if I think it's going to be relevant to my life or not.
Right.
But it's really interesting that people who haven't gotten this poison, when they're around people that have gotten the poison, it's still affecting them, and that's like some kind of like aura, vibration, field, something weirdo shit happening. It's fucked up.
Yeah,
there's the
AI stuff.
Like those of us that don't want to have no intention to get, any of that crap put in us, we can possibly still be affected on some cuckoo level, which is really interesting. Like when I saw that, it opened my eyes, because I'm like, what? You know how they say there's like that term, like, oh, the military or whatever technology is like 40 years ahead of what we're witnessing. Like, what if that's technology that was created years ago that we're starting to like become witness to now? And it's just like, holy fuck, man, you guys are messing around. Because the cool thing is, so I look at it both ways. The cool thing is, technology is neutral. It can be used for evil or for good. So if people are getting the jab and are affecting people who haven't had the jab just by what do they call that? Proximity, kind of like hanging around the wrong kind of people. I think that technology can be used for the positive too. Like, what if people got some crazy jab that we reversed, and then those of us that never got the jab get like good vibes from those people that got the, like, it's like
this
is total like freaking Star Trek thoughts.
It's freaking Star Trek, Star Wars, all of it. I think that with that being said, though, that's where the work's never done. People need to constantly be checking themselves, checking their field, clearing it out, caring for your little ones at this time, because every bioweapon, everything's getting unleashed and unraveled. But I swear to goodness, and all that I am, and all my little light beam pals, you glow. Like when you're just like, and you're like, connection, it's like you're untouchable. And so it's like the mentors, and then they fade away. You can just pimp down the street like, what's up, Loosh? You're not getting me. And navigate that shit. And it's all possible, but it's literally, you're the only person that can do it for yourself. And so they're coming at with all these ways. I swear what you're talking about with being affected in proximity has to do with AI, because there's not much of us that have gotten away with total protection from the nanobots. They've been spraying that and poisoning our food forever. Like it's on pesticides and fruits and spraying in the sky and the plants and the soil. It's everywhere now. So we're walking nanobots. I think there should be a continual detox of those. But we're all susceptible, but they can get you with the littlest things, like a bad plane flight, and then you're simmering and louche, and then here comes a credit collector, or like it's just like one thing, and it's like, or you're just like, handle your shit, rise up, clean it up, and then the whole perspective changes again. That's my little rant from what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean,
I can't do it without these, so I'm kind of like.
And then just on top of that too, it's like, when you go into when you happen to catch yourself in the bad vibes, I think what I've learned over the years, it's like working out. Like you can be lazy and be a couch potato for months on end and not be healthy or whatever, and that's fine. But as soon as you start picking your ass up and getting back into like activity and eating good, your body responds. And I think it's the same thing with energy. Once you're like, you find yourself in a bad funk, you can stay there. That's your choice. Or you can start working to like reverse that energy and get better. And I think, the easiest thing for me sometimes, I tell my clients, I'm like, you got, learn to meditate. But even if you don't want to go there, the simplest thing is just getting rest.
Oh, yeah.
That's the easiest thing. Just
Corey,
rest.
you need more sleep.
Well, that too, but I mean, just like resting, like suspends the stress for a little bit. Resting suspends all the like crap for a little bit, and it allows you at least to come back to neutral, and from neutral you can hop to positive.
Yeah.
But yeah, so.
I love that because I'm taking that information into mothering. Like we really took on school to the 10th degree. There's so many random things happening with that. That's a whole nother tale. But I just talking to them the way I wanted to be talked to, and just the way that, like with energy, when you said that, there will become a time where even I feel they're keyed up. And I'll be like, let's go outside. Let's put our feet in the grass. Let's shake it off. We have energy. Like it's the energy. We talk about energy instead of an action that's right or wrong. It's like, or even when we're sedentary for too long and we are lazy and we're addicted to our screens, and it's like, whoa, how long we're on? It's like, come on, like literally shake it off, guys. Like we got to move the energy, and then we like dance a little or move a little furniture and say, it's like, let's shake this up. It changes everything. Changes the mood. That's my little man. I give him credit. I don't even have to say it anymore. Sometimes something will just happen, and I'll be like ready to be like, why I oughta, and then he just takes out outside and he just starts walking around in a circle. I'm like, work it out, babe. Same with his teeth that other day. Woo, that was intense. And when the Novocaine was wearing off, he's just like, like it's starting, and he would just run. He was just run, and he'd shake himself, and I'd be like, damn. And then he'd be so exhausted, and he's like, I moved it through though. And I'm like, you did. You're not going to be like in 5 years. Oh, remember the time he like worked that shit out.
Awesome.
I remember that with great workout things too, though. When you get off the wagon and it's all the mind, you got to pull yourself up from the inside out and just go, just do it again. Muscle memory and everything, all the beautiful things with that. That goes with our spiritual journey. We've been all kicked down more times than we can say probably, but look at us now. What's happening over there, Corey? They're still remodeling and stuff, huh?
I had to step out to talk to the contractor for a second.
Hey, look what I have. So thank you, Tyler Koala of Journey to Truth, who recommended this little microphone. So I can come to your little studio and interview you there and show your little studio around for Howdy on the street. Or what's that, Billy on the street? I'll be like, Howdy on the street. I can bring your hopium door to door, man. I told you I'm dealing now.
I think a big kind of like what you guys were talking about. Another big epiphany and practice that I've come across is alchemy.
Yes.
And it transmute. That's my big thing, I guess, because We're living in stressful times right now. It could be stressful conversations. Everybody has different lives and different pasts and different things, different mountains to climb.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes that could get lost in translation, and people could start comparing their situation to yours, and that's never a good situation. But I practice a lot of spiritual alchemy, just in those type of situations, and I've realized how to hone and balance out conversations and recognize like where the tense parts are, and like how to kind of chisel away at them in the conversation. Like we're all very powerful beings. We just have to realize that we are, and have faith that we can do those types of things. So yeah, I'm big on alchemy. That has a lot to do with right now. I mean, it
has to do with everything. Yeah, that's everything.
I mean, they're literally taking their dark energy and trying to cake the dome ceiling of the earth.
That archonic energy, man, it just goes. There's so many metaphors in movies for that. There's so many. I don't know if there's a show or a movie that doesn't, I guess, have it. Bigfoot Family. But you
getting stuck in that show?
I know, we just saw it recently. And last night was Onward. It was our Friday night movie night. That was like what happened to the fairies and things when they got lazy. Oh, that's what I was going to say. So Onward starts by, it's like mythical creatures. Unicorns even became like the hood rats. It's like what happens when the Matrix just takes over the freaking multiverse and those creatures. And I don't remember an octopus, but I have the octopus in my head because, the big octopus anyway. And it took them for being like remembering who they were and remembering how powerful they were and what they could do. Even the little gangsters, they were pixies who got lazy and stopped using their wings. So they rode motorcycles everywhere, but they're like 100 on a motorcycle. And all of a sudden their motorcycle busted and like, we have to fly. And then they just changed their energy. They changed it up. It was pretty cool. I watch with my kids because I'm like, where's the penis symbol? Where's the squirrel? When is the mother gonna die? I'm like, but I was like pleasantly surprised. Same with Bigfoot Family. Messages are getting out there, and I want to keep cranking because our little ones need to know all this stuff too. Now I'm giving even my pal Abby Lane was on a show, The Journey to Truth, the other day, and I let them shout out. So shout out Abby Lane. She was up on here earlier. I don't know if she's still here. But we're trying to work on a program for kids and like raising these star seeds and these kids who are navigating the matrix, but like they're brought in with their superpowers, and protecting them and honing in on them and all that. I'm not saying too much because we have a lot to disclose with all that stuff. But that was a lot of synapses at once. Sorry, guys. It just comes through me. Oh, Andrew Smith. I just figured this out. Sorry, guys. We'll have to do this next time. Like this. Look, someone said something. I can put it on here. Andrew, I like the idea.
There you go. She froze.
Oh. Right when she pushed the button. No, you've heard of while we wait for Heidi, you've heard of the 1,000 monkey effect?
Yeah.
Because that could be kind of what he's talking about.
Yeah.
They had dirt on their sweet potatoes and they're like, we'll wash them off in the ocean. They seen one person do it. And then everybody started doing it. So, I mean, those are the type of messages we need to put out there for sure.
Absolutely. Uh-oh, we lost the girl. Maybe she'll come back in.
Oh, yeah, she just has to join the link, right?
Yeah. Heidi, where'd you go, girl?
I did.
There she is.
See those archons? Those are
you got a green cube flying above your head yet?
The glitch is getting you.
I know, remember that? It was all green all around. That was, you know what? And I said that when I started. Remember when we were flubbing before? Because I was adding those banners. So maybe I'm not pimped out enough yet in my clubhouse with Wi-Fi to be able to handle a banner. That's exactly what had happened. I was like, oh shoot.
What's your router? Maybe get like a faster router, possibly.
Yes. So my problem is I have crystals all over it. I'm trying not to make it too powerful. I bought what's it called? A booster or extender. So I put it in the closest, the kitchen door where there's an outlet, like right there. And I'm right in the back house. I don't know if I should bring it back here maybe, but it kind of boosts another 1,000 square feet. And I was never able to even do this before. So that's better. But I really want to get.
It was good. It's been good. I feel.
Good. Good. Well, now I'm frozen again. Let me plug this in. Sorry. Here we go. You can hear me, but am I frozen on the screen?
You're frozen, but we can hear you.
Oh, that's gnarly. That doesn't even look cute. Oh God.
Frozen in the Matrix.
I got time to put on lipstick. It's frozen. Son of a nut. Oh, that's my language.
Where'd she go?
She's popping. Heidi popping
in and out.
Pop's popping. Okay, hang tight. I don't know if you can hear me, but it'll come on at 1 second. I'm not going to touch a damn thing. That's what I'm going to do. And okay.
We can still hear you.
Okay. You can't see my red lips now. What's the next? Hi, Selena. Yes, the kids are loving hearing about energy and alchemy too. I'll title our little lessons, Corey, like alchemy. It was 100, but I could see it being that technology embedded in the nanotech. Oh yeah. So we know these Lucian. Oh God, this is so funny. I'm sorry, guys. It'll pop in at some point. Nanobots, Matrix, oh my. Any movies on deck that you've heard of that are coming out that are kind of cray-cray?
Crazy or crazy good or crazy bad?
Or I just don't know even what's out there, and that's even in the industry. Hubby just finished a Michael Bay movie about an ambulance. There's a lot of, this is something he noticed being on set. A lot of the content lately, he's jumped commercial, TVs, and film. It's all like first responders. It's ambulances and, tragedies. That's a lot of the content right now is tragedy, hero, tragedy, hero. And the heroes, of course, controlled opposition. Oh, how it's happening.
Where the money's at right now.
That's where the money's at. That's totally the money.
Like when all the CEOs stepped down from all the biggest corporations and started investing in medical equipment and pharmaceutical companies.
Uh-huh.
That was before they announced coronavirus. So.
Oh, yeah. They had
That's not insider trading, though, right?
Are you all trading? That's a whole nother hot topic. I don't know what to do with this, guys, but I do see we're at 120. Mm-hmm. Do you want to? We can say something.
You're like the girl on the TV in Poltergeist right now.
Carolyn. I feel like it sometimes. Definitely did like a child. Well, that's kind of okay. Well, there you go. This is what it's going to be, I think. That doesn't mean we have to end it, though. But if I move, let me pop out and in one more time. Talk amongst yourself. What's one of your absolute favorite line in the Matrix? What's your second favorite? Because you both have said your favorite. I'll be right back.
I'll let you go first, Corey.
Okay. There is no spoon. That's probably my favorite one.
That's your ultimate favorite one. And then she asked, what was the second favorite?
It would have to be you never use your eyes. It's probably close second. It's hard to kind of put a number or like one over the other because they're both profound messages for people that can grasp what the message is saying.
Right. I think for me, like my favorite Matrix quotes come usually from the training that Morpheus is giving Neo. Like I said, basically Morpheus telling him, I can show you the door, but I can't walk through it. You have to like walk through it. That one.
Oh yeah. I can hear you.
The other one where he was like, just don't think you can, know you can. Because those kind of quotes like apply to just practical. We're talking about the energy stuff, but it also applies to like practical things. And there you are. So
low definition.
Those would be my two favorites.
Don't push no buttons.
Is when Morpheus is training Neo, those are my favorite quotes from the movie.
Yeah.
First or second movie?
The first, the second movie, the quotes that I like are, well, I don't know if they're like something that I like follow, but I like the exchange between Neo and the Merovingian. That's a cool little scene. And when he's talking to the Oracle, like those scenes to me are like the good ones. Because she's like, it's funny because she's like, the vampires and the aliens, and she goes, all that stuff, those are viruses in the Matrix. they're not supposed to be there. They're the bad programs or whatever. So things like that. And it makes me think, like, since we're on the topic, like maybe all these all the lockdown stuff, that's not supposed to be part of the programming. Like that's not supposed to be in the system, and it's getting flushed out right now. So we'll see.
And it was to make us go mad. Yeah.
Yeah. I haven't seen the second and third one, like the full one. Like I feel like I grasped it with the first one.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited for the new one coming out. But have you guys seen the third one?
Yeah.
I haven't.
Do you remember the conversation that the architect is having with the Oracle in Central Park?
Mm-hmm.
That's a good one too.
Yeah.
That's when like the architect is talking about how the Matrix is gonna go, and then the Oracle asks the architect, well, what about the humans? And the architect said, well, obviously they'll be free if they want to be free.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Oracle asked the architect, do I have your word on that? And then the architect said, of course. What do you think I am, human?
Oh, that's good. Sovereignty, free will. Everyone has a choice. Everyone has a chance to be their best self.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow. Well, I don't have any quotes for you. I wanted to hear all yours. My homework last night was supposed to be watching Matrix again because it had been since forever. And I watched Onward.
The interesting thing is the guy that wrote the screenplay. So there's a guy out there, and I forget his name. I apologize. I watched so many like podcast interviews and different things to just kind of get the knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm a bad person with like references. I forget names. I forget where the links are at and all that kind of shit. But there's a guy out there who he says he wrote with the original screenplay for what became the Matrix that the Wachowskis stole. So he says they made this movie, the Matrix, that was based off of his ideas and his original script. And he's been coming out lately in I saw him in a few interviews, and he was saying that once the Great Awakening like is complete, that kind of thing, that he's going to put his original version of the Matrix, like it's not even called the Matrix, but his original version of that screenplay out into the world. I can't wait to see that.
Wow. I wouldn't be surprised if that were the story, because I mean that's all the content out there. Really, it was always someone's storyline. They even said when you go to Jerry's Deli, don't talk loud if you have a script. Someone in the next booth's going to steal it and have it done, you know? I'm not surprised, but I also know that weren't they heavily involved? I loved Sense8 when they became the sisters, Wachowski sisters. Sense8 was pretty amazing, but I know how involved they are. So the inversion of everything, and I don't know. I don't want to get in those legalities of it, of who they are, and their archonic overlays and their puppet masters. But they put everything out in content to show us, and I think it's to lobotomize people and to numb them out, so that when stories leak, people will be like, "Oh, you just saw that in a movie." You know,
Right.
that's not real.
Yeah, that's why that's why they have the deep fake technology and everything. So
Right.
there's so many videos and incriminating evidence out there where they could be like, oh yeah, well anybody could edit that and put my face over that.
Yeah. So then they do those acts and things. Sorry, go ahead.
That's one of their tactics they're trying to use to basically slide past that and be impervious to being admonished, you know, punished for the stuff that they've done.
Have you seen Dark City? Corey Lavoie was talking about Dark City. That sounds familiar. Is that the comic book one? It's made a comic book. He said that was a good one. It was like the Matrix before it came out. He also claims credit for originally writing Matrix. And won a lawsuit. Who's that? So
that's what I was saying. That's the only person I heard of is the lady.
This is someone else too. You know, I bet all of our journals. I have journals from a kid. Mine could have been turned in it because we were living the Matrix. It is the storyline, like it is a program.
What do you guys think of the Mandela effect?
I think
it's interesting.
Yeah, and it makes me think of Project Looking Glass because you know you have a topic and you see the timeline play out and how it would roll out. So you're kind of like a couple steps ahead Mandela, and you could switch things up. I don't want it to go that way, so I'm going to fuck it up or change it right now. I would never not relive everything I've ever done my whole life. The trials, the tribulations, the heartache, the pain, the survival mode, which is probably the most painful because it was an entire energetic field of pain. I would do it all over again because to get to this point at this time happened for a reason. We're in this global situation and I'm like, la, 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 la. And so I'm like, thank you, because my kids see that and I'm teaching them. So I kind of would, Mandela wise, I wouldn't want to go back and change one little thing to change the future because I want it all to go the same way.
Was it the Berenstain Bears or the Bear-Stain Bears?
I know. Berenstein. I always thought Berenstein Bear. The Berenstein Bear.
That's what it was.
I didn't really watch it. I was a Care Bear, remember? So I competed with them.
But Bear-Stain? You would have remembered that. You would have remembered that.
Yeah.
They even changed the last name of the authors to make it look legitimate and authentic. Did you see that? I don't know if you guys did the research, but yeah, they changed. I forget Judy or something, but their last name is Bear-Stain, and they're like, no, it was always been Bear-Stain because these are the last names of the people.
Wow.
So,
no.
I think I remember opening one of those books because they were everywhere. They were at the dental office, you know, like everywhere you went. That was one of the. There was always 3 or 4 of them in the lobby, and I think I remember in the front cover it said Berenstein, like the name of the people that. You know, the authors and everything. But it's crazy how like the levels they'll go to psychologically attack, you know, and get you to believe that what you remember, you know, from your childhood that was something that you couldn't forget that you could. Right?
It's a lot of gaslighting. There's a lot of gaslighting and manipulation and virtue signaling. And
what's you guys' opinions on big tech?
Yeah. Yeah. Ooh.
Like what kind of what's the question?
Big tech.
Just in general, like I said earlier, I think technology is neutral. How you use it is what makes it good or evil. And like, you know, I can I can use a pen to write like positive stuff, or I can use a pen to write negative stuff. It's just the pen itself doesn't do shit. And so I think that's my general opinion on big tech. Of course, there's people like, running these companies that might not have the best of intentions, but you take those people out and put some good people in, and I think, we're running high speed from here on out. But right now, it seems like these guys, just want to crush, like I said earlier, the expression of voice, and just having that voice out there. So,
Yeah,
in my opinion, it's just a neutral thing. How we use it is whether it's good or evil.
you can say the same thing about money. Some people say
Yeah.
money's evil, but
Service to self, service to others.
just intentions. It comes down to the law of intention.
Yeah. And then back to our missions. I'm going to semi-round it up because we are hitting a time frame, but I would love to do a part 2 with you guys because I know we could talk forever. But on that note, and leaving it on some hopium, it's like our missions. I think in the very beginning, when we were talking about that, you both had service to others. You are of service to others while following your bliss, while navigating the matrix, and having lived through a lot of the archonic programming and breaking free of it. What's a horrible general question that will throw you both off? I'm just kidding. What should we advise to continue this hopium? What's a little hopium for the weekend, do you think? Or if someone's just, that's a loaded question, because I just tell people to unplug when they start to lose it. They're getting programmed. So unplug and ground. But do you find I was going to say, do you find more people seeking help? Are you finding more, because your client list tripled for training? Are people like, okay, I got to get out?
I think like you were asking, like, what's the hopium for the weekend? And, do I have more people asking for help? I see that all the time. Mm-hmm. I think what's going on right now is there's a lot of people that feel lost. Things aren't normal. There's wacky things going on. You and I have talked about, like, we almost feel like the earth is splitting into two. Like there's a group of people, and then there's another group of people, that kind of thing going on. So I think because of those, whatever you want to call them, energies or whatever that people are feeling, they feel kind of lost. And I think there's this sense that people want help, or some kind of, like, just make things better. And the thing that I would say is, like, if there's any kind of hopium, like I said, for the weekend, is it just comes back to the simple activities. Just find a way to get rest. And by rest, I mean, like, even sometimes, being a couch potato, just chill and reset. Yourself. It's like I had a friend telling me today. She sent me a text because she wanted to hang out, and then she sent me another text and said, "I'm so depressed right now." And I'm like, "What happened?" I'm like, "You were like cool, and then you're not cool. What's going on?" And she's like, "I found out I have to, like, basically, I had to work today, and I might have to stay all day, that kind of thing." And so she's like, "I'm just exhausted," because she's been exhausted with the work thing lately. Wow. And so I wrote her back. I'm like, "It's all right if we don't hang out." I'm like, "You take care of you first." I said, so my specific message that I wrote her back, I'm like, "If you can sneak in a massage somewhere today, go get a massage. And I know you girls like your mani-pedis. I'm like, go get yourself a mani-pedi, treat yourself." And, she wrote me back and she goes, "That's so awesome. Like, you're right. I need to do something like that." And it's just like self-care. You just got to come back to neutral, basically. Yeah. If you're feeling overwhelmed, the only hopium I have for people is, like, get some freaking rest, like, chill out as best you can. And whatever, I've even told people, because I have clients that are trying to lose weight, and this isn't the best advice coming from a personal trainer, but sometimes, like, you just got to fucking do it. And I tell people, right, if eating the fucking brownie is going to make you feel better for a second, eat the fucking brownie and let go of the guilt.
Right. That's the biggest part. How are you eating it? Like, woohoo, it's so delicious.
Yeah.
Or you're like, oh my God. Oh my God.
Because for that moment when you're eating the brownie, and I know, brownies don't have all the goody stuff unless you're eating organic. I get all that. But for that moment, your body kind of feels like, oh.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell people, ride that fucking moment. That'll take you from depressed, sad, whatever, negative, into the neutral. But if you eat the brownie and you feel guilty about it, you're just adding on to the negativity. So
Right.
if there's any kind of hopium for the weekend, if you're feeling any kind of stress, chill. If you're already happy, ride that fucking wave of happiness and keep going. That's my advice.
Like what? Corey, take it away.
The hope is always a good thing. Not Obama hope, but real hope. I think, a lot of what Rick said, like things that, can release serotonin and, different chemicals in your body that make you feel alive, do things that make you feel alive, and don't dwell on things that you may not be able to do anything about, or, don't put all your energy into it. Just look at things more clear. We kind of have blinders on the way that we've been programmed to live. And there's a lot in the world. I think people are missing a lot, just being stressed out and everything.
Yeah.
There's still a lot of beautiful things in this world.
Yeah.
And, if we can vibrate and have a mindset of that, then we can kind of create that force field around us, like you were talking about earlier. We got to protect ourselves right now because there's a lot of madness and craziness and everything. We don't have to alienate ourselves from the world, but we definitely have to have our third eye on. And the key word that I've said since, the last year and a half is discernment.
Yeah.
And the only way you get discernment is to do your own research and get in touch with yourself and love yourself, like Rick was saying.
Yeah.
If you don't have any of your own information, it's going to be a rough ride.
Yeah.
Especially in these times. And we've been here doing the work for a long time, and now what's going on is what we're like the guy on horseback coming saying the British is coming for 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah,
people have lived by a lot of people dismissed the Matrix, to be honest. They really did. A lot of popular conversations that people had with people when it came to the Matrix or the red pill, blue pill, I don't think they really understood the concepts the way it explained it, or they just didn't have the information to connect it. But they were like, yeah, like I've heard plenty of people, take the blue pill, you'll be happy, you'll live a happy life. And you gotta question the ignorance. And ignorance is not bliss. And I think if people aren't realizing that and recognizing that right now, that's unfortunate, because
that's unfortunate.
The culminating effect of long-term ignorance is what we're dealing with.
Yeah.
And it's up to us where we go from here. So, I mean, it's our own journey. We can determine our path from here, not be defeated, and transmute the energy that's being shot at us right now.
Mm-hmm.
And,
transmute for sure.
Yeah.
There's a lot of energy coming our way. Self-care, definitely. You said a lot though. I wanted to expand on what you said, Corey, but I'm going to save it for our next one. I'm going to write it down. I will hoping the self-care 100%. It's got to be self-care, and unplug. That disinfo is so heightened, and everybody wants to be right or heard. And if you're just in that little spiral, just unplug, ground yourself, and get so still. Wim Hof your breath, take a bath, rub one out. I don't know, just like fucking chill, and then just start paying attention to the voice, to the answers, and to the rhythm. You get back to your rhythm, and try again. Step out in the matrix again. There you go. We talked pretty good. I'm going to wrap it. And I want to say thank you, Andrew and Corey Lavoie. And we had a lot of chats in here. And I was trying to pay attention and not read, but I should have put them on to read. Oh, no, I'm not going to put one on. Remember what happened last time. So, we're going to read through these again. And I think you're going to spark a whole nother conversation because there's a lot of good stuff in the chats right here, guys. I want you to read too.
That'd be awesome.
Thank you both so much for playing and on the afternoon and getting all that fun, good stuff. Our geo points are lit up right now. You're welcome, Los Angeles and Chicago, two of the gnarliest lockdown states.
No.
And if you boys are up for playing again another time, I'd like to do this again with both of you. And I'm grateful to everybody. And the world is awesome and the universe is bliss. Follow your bliss and step out of the matrix. That's what I say. Thank you, Corey, and thank you, Rick. Do you have any super closing remarks or anything you want to say or share? Or where can everybody find you? That's what people say. Where do people find you? I tagged you in this on our posts, but where else? What would you like to tell people?
I mean, that's good. I found the link to the interview with
Okay.
Thomas Althouse is the original guy that wrote the Matrix. So I'll put that in the little comment section.
Cool. Please do.
But I sent that to you guys too.
Okay, cool. Thank you. People can find you on Book of Faces and Instagram and all over Chicago and all over the place and in the Astral.
Yep.
And Corey, you're Lit Studios, yes? You weren't rebranding again, are you? Or
Yeah, we're reconstructing, rebranding, like opening up more rooms so
cool.
we can automate and hire people and build other things, create other things.
Awesome.
Show people how to do it.
Show them how to do it. Follow your bliss. Do what you love and the money will come.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you for helping me talk a little bit about all these fun little things. And I wish you both a wonderful rest of your weekend and everybody else. Cheers. Thanks for playing, guys. And I'm ending in 3, 2, 1, and I'm going to learn this stuff by next time, I swear to God. Bye.